Hi, Amy. I've been in a leadership position for a year now. I've tried my hardest to be the type of manager I would want to work for. I've had not so great bosses, and I'm trying not to follow in those footsteps. I'm finding that there are a couple of people that just don't seem to like me, or I'm doing something that makes them unhappy and I just don't realize it. I really want to sit down with this person and see what's really going on and where the disconnect is. But honestly, I don't know if that's a good idea. How would you approach this? Okay, I have been here, and this is what I have done. I have sought feedback from people that have reported up to me, and if I feel like there's any kind of disconnect, I like to check in and ask for their feedback on very specific things in the ways that I show up as their manager. Whenever there isn't a specific instance and it's a more general feeling, I like to blame seeking feedback on a natural moment in time. So for example, we're coming up to the end of the year, performance reviews. So you could approach them and say, hey, I know it's a little early, but I'm gathering my notes from throughout the year as I prepare for gathering everything for my self-review. Do you mind if I send you some prompts so that I can get your feedback that I can include in my self-review when I give my boss? Then you want to include prompts that you genuinely want their response to. Here are a few. What do you gain from our weekly team meetings? Or what do you gain from our weekly one-on-one meetings? What do you wish there was more of or less of in those meetings? And how can I support you more effectively? Those are the types of questions that you want to seek their feedback on. It's not your job to be their friend. You can be friendly, you can build rapport over time, but it's really not your direct report's job to vibe with you. That's obviously ideal, but if you're sensing that they might have some beef, they might feel like you're not advocating for what they need, or they're not paid enough, something that's totally out of your control. And if it is, if something is ever in your control, bring them into it. And if something is out of your control, bring them into it. For example, if you say, how can I show up in a more supportive way to ensure that you are successful in your job, not using that corporative language, but is there anything that I can do differently or more of or less of so that you feel more supported? When you ask that, they might say, yeah, the technology I use is really frustrating. And you might know, okay, well, that's outside of my budget, so I can't give my direct report what they need. They have said, I need this to be successful, so how do you show up? You're candid with them. You are radically candid. So going off that example, let's say their tech is frustrating and you can't replace it because it's outside of your budget. Well, then you say, okay, I know it's super frustrating and it's out of budget for this year. I'm going to try to propose for it next year. I can't make any promises, but until then, do I need to adjust expectations of you? Do you need breaks throughout the day to just take a walk because the tech is frustrating, etc.? That might sound a little fluffy, and it might need to be because it's out of your control, but at least you can name it's out of my control, but this is what I'm going to do to try to bring it back into my control. I hope that was helpful. Follow me to get ahead in your corporate job. My name's Amy, and I'm a Chief People Officer at a global company. I'm on here to help you understand the back end of corporate straight from HR. I hope you stick around.